What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Chef Ed here. Today's day 16, and we're talking what's a good amount of spices to launch with, right? As a new brand. Let's jump into it. Most spice brands don't fail from lack of spices. They actually fail from having way too many. And let me break down what do I mean by that. You want to start with 1 to 3, right? That's ideal. You know what I mean? Not 5, not 10, nothing crazy. And there's a reason for this. Focus equals faster sales, right? If you have one product, all your attention, all your energy goes into promoting, into selling, into marketing, everything into that one product. You have 5 products or more, 3 or more products, then your attention is split across the board. And because of that, realistically, how much attention can you really give when you have so many different products you have to figure out a way to sell? Because you can't sell all of them the same way, right? So it's really important to start with a very small amount. And then from there, you can expand. Like, there's no rush. You don't need to have this massive collection. You don't need to have this crazy inventory of products. Like, nah, stay focused. The other reason you want to start with low, with a few SKUs is money, right? You're talking low upfront costs. If you have to launch 5 different products, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different blends, that's a lot of money. Because depending on who you use as your private label company, your minimums could be 100 each, it could be 50 each, it could be 500 each, it could be 200. It really depends because it varies across the board vastly. So this is another reason why you really want to pay attention to how many SKUs you launch with. And the fact that you're launching with all those different SKUs, I bet you didn't think about the fact that each one of those SKUs is a new design, right? A new label you have to print, packaging, all of that stuff. So there's a lot of extra cost that goes into launching a bunch of different spices all at once versus launching 3, 2, or 1. And by launching with a small amount like 1, 2, 3, right? The feedback is a little bit quicker. Right? You get way more feedback faster, and you're able to tweak and move at a faster pace. And by launching with a few versus many, you're able to create a better brand identity, right? Because brands are known for one thing really well, maybe 2. But when you have multiple things, it's kind of hard for people to know what you're in the market for. Like, what should you be known for? Because you have all these different offerings, they're not sure. And then that also creates buyer fatigue, you know what I mean? Because if someone goes to your website and you have a million different spices available, how are they knowing what to pick? You know what I mean? It's one thing if you have just a salt, just a pepper, those are very distinct, you know what I mean? But when you have multiple flavor blends that are sort of similar, then that becomes a situation that you don't want to put people in unnecessarily. So if I were you and I was gonna launch a brand, right, a spice blend, I would launch an all-purpose seasoning, which would be salt base, right? And then I would launch a nice cool chef blend that has no salt, that has maximum flavor profiles in it, right? And then maybe a third one that's, very niche, very unique, something different, right? But that would be it. That would be the way I would go about it. So to bottle this up, right? The goal is not to have a massive catalog of blends in the beginning. There's nothing wrong with that later on down the line, a year, 6 months, 2 years. The goal is to have one amazing product that you can actually sell. Once you can prove to yourself and to your business that you can actually sell that one product, then of course, jump into making more blends. All right? I hope this helps. Until next time, peace and love.